Julie, do you have a religious background at all?
No.
Okay, so can I ask you this opening question? What would you say if somebody would tell you that God's got a wonderful plan for your life? How would you respond to a question like that?
It's individual belief. Just because I don't believe doesn't detract from somebody else that may believe. But I don't have any personal belief.
Okay, so it wouldn't sway you one way or the other?
No, not really. I mean, I've dabbled in the past with Jehovah's Witness. I've been part of their congregation. Some of their beliefs I respect, some not so much. So I think it's personal opinion. I don't have a thought either way.
Okay, so you're quite neutral at the moment?
Yes, I consider myself to be neutral.
Would you say that you're open-minded though to listen to other people's views and take on board maybe what other people, what their beliefs are as well?
Oh, definitely, yes. Yeah, because that's what makes us all individual.
And I suppose that's part of the freedom of speech that we have as well, isn't it, in our country?
And not only that, it's nice to learn different aspects. I mean, I work with quite a diverse and ethnic people where I am, and it's nice to listen to how they celebrate religious festivals. So, and you know what, although I am not their religion, I will celebrate it with them because I work with them and they're my friends.
Okay, so moving on from that quite nicely actually, what's your thought of Christmas? What significance does Jesus have? Why did he have to be born at all?
For me, to show us a different way of living, that we can be generous, we can be giving, we can accept people of different persuasions, so to speak. So yeah, that's how I see it. It's a time of giving, of thinking of other people aside from yourself. A time of giving.
Okay, you mentioned hope earlier. We're going to touch probably on hope a little bit later on. So I want to share with you at the end sort of what my view of Christmas is about, and just share with you very briefly about the hope that we have at Christmas time. But before I do that, I want to ask you just some very simple questions. And the first one is this: do you think that you are a good person?
I would like to think I am.
So you're talking about we were drawing a year to a close, and then we're starting a new year, and we're reflecting on things that have happened in the year, ready to sort of start afresh. So you said that you think you're a good person. Were you here with your husband? Would he agree with you? I won't ask him.
Yeah, who knows? Every relationship has its ups and downs. He's quite stubborn and I'm very fiery. So, yeah.
So this can be fireworks at times?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you 4 quick questions about that to test if that's true. Now, I've taken this test, and just to give you confidence, I failed it. So don't worry if you fail it as well. You'll be siding with me. Now we're going to use an objective standard, a standard that we would agree on. So we're going to use the 10 Commandments, if that's all right. The 9th commandment is: how many lies have you told in your life?
Copious.
What would you call someone that told copious amounts of lies? What name would you give them?
You would call them a liar.
A liar, I agree. What about this one? The next commandment number 8 before it: how many things have you taken in your life, regardless of when it was? Things that didn't belong to you that you took. How many things do you think you've done?
Not so much as an adult, but definitely when I was younger. You obviously then potentially don't realise the significance of something that you've taken. I mean, I have made the odd mistake, but then I've gone back when I've realised that maybe something I've taken from a shop got buried in or when my daughter was in the shop, took something off that I didn't know.
I've had that as well happen with my children.
But I've gone back and said, oh, I'm really sorry.
Okay. Are there other things maybe that you've taken, you think, maybe especially when you're younger, that you did maybe deliberately?
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. Oh, definitely.
Julie, do you know what? I love your honesty. You've been very honest so far, and I really appreciate that because it helps everything go along smoothly. What name would you give someone who takes things that doesn't belong to them?
Thief.
Right, next commandment, and again, I appreciate your honesty. Have you ever used God's name in vain? The third commandment says that we shouldn't use God's name in vain. So maybe saying OMG or...
So all the time, yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah, and the thing in vain means without thinking. So you probably say it just like it just comes out without even really programming it.
Oh yeah, definitely. The work I do, it means a lot of talking to other people, and when I'm trying to explain them or get them to understand what it is I'm working, that I'm asking them for, and they sometimes just don't get it. It sometimes makes me put my head on my hands and goes, oh my God, in sheer frustration that I can't get them to understand. That probably could tie in with me maybe being a little bit more patient.
Okay, but you've admitted that you do that, and instead of using other words to express our frustration, words like that come out instead, don't they? And do you know what?
I don't want to swear.
Yeah, well, to swear. Well, when we take God's name in vain, it's something that he counts very dear to himself, and it's called blasphemy. I don't know if you're aware. And so that's the third commandment. And the last one, I promise you, is the fifth commandment, and is, have you always obeyed your parents? Whether now or in the past?
Not all the time. It could be something simple that I've gone out on a night out and I've not phoned them to let them know that I'm okay.
Some things, sometimes they're very simple things, but we've all done that. So Julie, just surmising everything that you've said, and by your own admission, I'm not judging you because I'm exactly the same as you. You admit that you're a liar, that you're a thief, that you're a blasphemer, and that you're disobedient as well towards your parents. Does that still sound like a good person?
I want to say yes.
We do, don't we? We still sometimes cling on to it, and we think we still want to say that we are. How do you think God would view you if you were to die today? And I really hope you don't, because you seem very, very nice lady, and I've really enjoyed our conversation. If you were to die today, and God was to look at your life and to judge your life against the standards of the Ten Commandments, would you be innocent or guilty?
I would like to say that I'm not innocent, but I'm definitely not guilty. I don't consider myself to be guilty because I try to give back. And although I say, yes, I am a liar, I am a thief, and I do blaspheme, I try to give back and do good deeds to maybe offset.
Okay. So you're saying that it's almost like a balance. If you do so many bad things, X amount of good things may reset that balance or tip it back in the other way. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is, yes.
And if God looked at like the whole of your life, there would be misdemeanors, but on the whole, there'd be more positive things than negative. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm hoping, if that does happen, that he oversees that, he sees that, and he looks at the good as well as the bad, and can see that I'm offsetting.
Okay, right. Just to give you a picture, if we were to take that type of situation and put it into a court of law, so say that I've broken the law or you've broken the law, and we went towards the judge, the just judge who's got to follow the letter of the land, and the judge says, but Julie, Chris, you've taken a car, you've joyridden a car, you've crashed it, but then you say, but I only joyrode the car for a little bit and then I returned it. It didn't matter that I had a scratch on the side or a broken headlight. What would the judge still say to us? Even though we returned the vehicle, how would he respond to us, even though we took it back?
Oh, I'd be guilty as sin. Guilty as sin. Oh yeah, I'd be guilty as sin.
And that's how God looks at us. Unfortunately, we're all sinners in His eyes. No one's good. Everyone's broken those commandments. We've all told lies and taken things that aren't ours. We've used His name in ways we shouldn't have done. And sometimes we try and rectify that by our own good deeds. But if we just think about that logically and we put it into a courtroom, we couldn't appease a judge, could we? We couldn't say to a judge, but judge, I know I took those things from a shop, but look at all those other things I didn't take. I only took one thing, and there was hundreds of things in that shop that I didn't take. The judge would probably think we're crazy and say, well, I have to enact the law on the things that you have done. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, definitely, yes.
And that's how, unfortunately, God looks at us all. Now, and that means we're all guilty in His sight. Because a moral standard is you only have to break it once to break it completely. You only have to murder one person to be a murderer. You don't have to rate one person to be a rapist. And it's the same with lying and stealing and blaspheming. So if God was to give you justice, would you go to heaven or hell?
I don't know.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty. It's a tough question.
And I don't want to, and it's being honest, I don't know. I really don't know. I'd like to think I'm going upstairs, but on what you've said...
It's quite worrying, isn't it, that if we look at that by the standard of what the Bible teaches us, that actually, because God's a just judge, and he's perfect, and he's holy, and he's righteous, he has to enact justice. And so it means, unfortunately, that we all deserve to go to hell, which is a really condemning statement and something that should worry us. Does that worry you, Julie, that if you were to die and God was to give you true justice, that's where you'd go?
God, yeah. Oh, yes, of course, because nobody wants to go downstairs.
Good, exactly. And this is the reason we're now at the crux of why we are talking to you. I'm not here to condemn you. I'm not here to just reveal these things and then let you walk off. And you mentioned hope at the start, and the reason for Christmas is hope. God did something amazing for humanity, and at Christmas time we particularly remember. What do you think that might be?
He gave his life for us.
So 2,000 years ago, Jesus came as a baby and was born in a manger through Mary, the Virgin. And then he lived a sinless life. So he didn't sin like me and you. His words, his thoughts, his actions were all perfect. And he didn't break God's law. He upheld it perfectly. And then what happened, which we remember at Easter, is he died an innocent death on the cross. And what happened there was a legal transaction. The sin of the world, Jesus paid for by his perfect life. And then when he died and he rose again, he said that anyone who believes in what he did and accepts that free gift and turns from their sin, which is called repentance, they'll be forgiven of their sin because it's been paid for by somebody else. And then when they die, God won't judge them like he should by their own deeds. He will look at their life through Jesus, and he'll see Jesus paid for their sin, and he'll let them into heaven. So if we go back to the courtroom, think of us again in the courtroom, and you've got a huge fine, £100,000 for stealing this car and causing loads of damage. It's like somebody stepping into that courtroom and saying, Judge, I'm prepared to bail Julie out. I'm prepared to pay that £100,000. But you might think, I don't know this person. Who is this person? And that's like what Jesus has done for us. He stepped in on our behalf. We didn't ask him to. He did it because he loves us. And he did it because he's showing us his grace and his mercy. And that's the hope that we have at Christmas. That Jesus came. He came for a reason. And the reason was to save the world from sin and from God's judgment. And he came to pay for your sin, for my sin on the cross. And all we have to do is two things to accept that gift. We have to ask for forgiveness and apologise for those things that we've done. But then we've got to take hold of Jesus and hold on to him like we would a parachute. If you were in a burning plane, 10,000 feet up, and there's a parachute, what would you do with it?
Put it on.
You'd put it on, wouldn't you, before you exit the plane? You wouldn't believe in that parachute and then just exit. You'd put it on and you'd trust it's going to save you, wouldn't you?
Yes, of course.
And that's what Jesus is like. You don't just believe in him, you put him on and you wear him. And what he does is he saves you. Because if you jumped out that plane without the parachute, the force of gravity, you'd hit the floor and you'd splat. But Jesus saves you from the impact of God's judgment. Does that make sense, Julie?
Yeah, it does. It does make perfect sense, yes.
So that's the Christmas message wrapped up with a little bow on top for you today. And so my next question is, what are you going to do with what I've told you today? Do you believe that it's true? Does it make sense to you?
It does make sense, yes. It probably won't change my beliefs, but it's an interesting concept for me to delve in and to look further.
Yeah, and I certainly encourage you to look further, because what I've spoken to you today is the gospel, which is the good news, and that's what Christianity is about. It's about the good news of Jesus, is that we don't deserve God's favour in our lives because of the things that we've done, but because God is rich in mercy, he sent Jesus to pay for our fine, pay for the things that we've done wrong by dying on the cross. And if we take hold of that and believe in it and turn from our sin, then God gives us a new heart as well, and he gives us new desires, and he gives us the things that we used to love, we turn away from, and we turn to new things, the things of God. And so I want to leave you with that message, Julie, but I do encourage you to not just look at it as a nice belief, because if you were to die, the Bible says that God would give you justice. It says that we live one life, and after that we face judgment. And so I really don't want you to pass over this gift, especially at Christmas time thinking about gifts. This is God's greatest gift to us. If I was to offer you, we've been giving out £1 million tracts. I don't know if you received one. If I was to give you £1 million, would you take it?
I would say, what would I need to give you in return? That's the skeptic in me.
Okay. But if it was a free gift, to take it and to even use it on others would be the wise thing, wouldn't it? But I'm talking about a gift that's been offered to you, and I encourage you to take it and to accept it, and it will mean that God's judgment will pass over you when you die, and that you'll enter into heaven instead of being judged in hell. Last question, Julie. Would you sell one of your eyes for £1 million?
One of my
Eyes.
No.
Would you sell both of them for 10 million?
No. I would freely give it if somebody needed it, if a family member needed it, but no, I don't think I would.
Because your vision's important to you, isn't it? Your eyesight's important. The things that we see, our loved ones, even the beautiful creation around us, presents and art and drama and various other amazing things. The Bible says that what would it profit a man if he gained the whole world but yet lost his soul? And so your eyes are that important that you wouldn't sell it for any amount of money. Don't give your soul away so freely and pass over this amazing gift that God is presenting to all of us. It's open to everyone. Julie, I thank you for talking to me. You've been so amazing and you've been really nice to talk to. I hope you have a great Christmas. And please remember that Jesus is really the reason for this season.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.